I never order my costumes either. I always do it hella last minute. So then it'd be like whatever day it is. I'm like, fuck, I got like 6 days, 5 days before Halloween. What the fuck am I wearing? Next, I'm in my closet. I'm like, all right, guess I'm going as an NBA player. Mm-hmm. Guess I'm going as an NFL player. Guess I'm going as Madea.
He was making shit up.
Just making shit up. And I'm always like, I want to spend like a month working on my fit. Like, next year I want to go crazy.
Yeah, next level. I feel like that's like something that I'll be down to do if it's like once we all have like our house and established careers and doing fun shit like that. It's like
I'm always on the road, I'm always on the road, I'm always.
Welcome back to the Rising Podcast. I'll say my weekly spiel. It's good to see you guys again. It's been a minute. It's been a while. But you're still here. And you will be seeing a lot more of us lately. We are going to try to get you guys one video a week. Please do not hold us to that. We will get you guys one video a week for the next month. Hopefully, by the end of that, we get to see a lot more of you guys hitting that subscribe button. If you would like to do that for me now, you can hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and go ahead and leave us down some comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys. I like to roast niggas in the comments, so please say something crazy. Because this episode today is our special message to Kanye West and Candace Owens. Brought to you by The Rising.
All right, guys. Then, what do you guys have to say about Kanye? I got one thing to just say to you guys.
Okay, yeah, just go ahead. Start
I'm going to just say this. Let me just start off by saying this.
Bring it out, props.
This album, one of the songs, I believe it was "Never Let Me Down" with Jay-Z. He was talking about how his mom got arrested for the sit-ins and all that stuff. So he 2003 Kanye very aware of what's going on with black people.
What was the title of that song?
Never Let Me Down.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of that right now.
Never Let Me Down, featuring Jay-Z. But yeah, what do you guys? What's been going on with him? I don't know.
That's a great question. I'm gonna go ahead and let
Xavier.
Xavier.
Right now it's looking like Hitler 2.0.
Well,
Kanye is really out here tripping. I mean, like, what I've learned from Kanye and kind of what I've learned from a lot of black conservatives teetering on that line of self-hate but don't want to acknowledge it, is they use a lot of anecdotes to justify their behavior. Because personally, this group of people has been bad to me. They've been in my pockets. They've been doing this. They've been harmful to my businesses. I'm just going to assume that the entire community has also been doing this to black people. And I feel like a lot of the times he then will, because he's been saying a lot of anti-Semitic shit, but let's also not let that take away from the fact that he's also been saying a lot of anti-black shit. But he only caught heat when he started talking about anti-Semitic shit. Shout out my Jewish niggas though. But but with that is he'll go off and on these anti-Semitic rants, but then use his identity politics to say, well, wait. My people have also been hurt. My people have also been this. I am black at the end of the day. But where was that energy when you're going out here and saying white lives matter and partnering with Candace Owens for the second time? Because let's not forget, Candace Owens had this nigga out here wearing MAGA hats and all that shit.
Oh, that was her who got involved in
so
that?
It's like
I was trying to figure out exactly where that partnership kind of
started.
came from.
It was back then.
Back with Trump when he was going to run for president and all that. And
so they riding that little wave.
Yeah, and it's like, we've already told you about her. We already told you about her ass.
Yeah.
We already told you about that.
Yeah.
Niggas ain't been fucking with Candace Owens.
I don't even think Candace Owens been fucking with niggas.
And it's like he's using the reason he's hanging around Candace Owens because nobody else was supporting him, reaching a hand out to him when he was going through all his struggles with Kim, when he couldn't get the address.
Through a divorce?
Yeah, when he couldn't get the address to his kid's birthday party, nobody was out reaching to him. And I supposedly, according to this nigga, the only person that was like showing any type of interest in his self woes was fucking Candace Owens. Okay, I don't go to church like that, my brother. But when you in hard times, the devil gonna be tempting. The devil gonna be tempting. But the righteous, the Mr. Jesus walks, which I thought you was, motherfucker, wouldn't have fell for those temptations. Like, oh, this person's telling me everything I want to hear. Because no shit, she wants you to blow $2 billion and buy her husband's business, which this nigga did. Kanye always being fucking self-aware of people trying to use him, self-aware of people in his pockets and want to use his name and his fame to benefit themselves. is over here and showing all this hate towards people who aren't messing with him, but showing all this love to people who are just blatantly fucking you over like Candace Owens. You're an idiot. You're a dumbass nigga. I'm sorry.
Woo.
Wow.
Wow.
I had to take his air freshener out of my car. I had to take his phone case off.
And let me
Get out of here.
And let me say this. I feel like Xavier, we have to take some accountability as people who
I do
sit here and
I do.
have put Kanye on this pedestal. Kanye, in my estimation, is the greatest artist of my generation. That's what I say. I'm not backing down from that statement. Musically, I feel like Kanye is one of a kind.
Hitler has some good paintings too.
Some people we just never see. Some people Kanye West is one of them when it comes to music. So then it makes the question that we've been having for years: how do we separate music and person? Mm-hmm. Because when personality and their agenda and what they do kind of intersects with their God-given talent for something, this could be a basketball player that we really love. This could be a boxer that we really love. This could be somebody that does something that we fuck with, that the whole community fucks with, that the whole community gets inspired by, and all that stuff. Like Meek Mill was talking about on this when he was calling Kanye out, like, nigga, when I was in jail, some of your music was one of the things that really got me through that. Mm-hmm. Like, music is something that, for black people specifically, like, gets us through certain situations differently. Mm-hmm. So now how do we separate artists? Can we just separate artists from bullshit, or can we not?
I mean, and that's understandable because, like, it's not like when Kanye started, he was saying these racist, anti-Semitic things and putting out good music at the same time. He was putting out great music while speaking on the plight of not only black people, but the LGBTQ. He was going out there before it was popular to say, I'm siding with the gay community, and it's fucked up to be saying, oh, you're gay this, you're F this. He was going out there on TV shows and saying that I side with them. So I find a lot of the reason that people have a hard time partying with this nigga is because there was a point in time when not only was he a great artist, he seemed to be standing up for great things. Wow. And while that might have been the case then, it's blatantly obvious that that's not the case now. And like Kanye was saying, taking accountability. I'll take accountability for it. When this nigga was out here talking about slavery was a choice, I was deep in my poetic bag trying to think of multiple reasons, trying to, like, well, he really meant this. He don't always speak what he really means. I was there. And I can, like, when I said, like, he has been saying anti-black things, and his career has not taken a hit. It's only to when he starts saying anti-Semitic things that he's going to start to take a hit. The black community, well, I'll speak from my personal experience, is not holding him to enough accountability. We're just letting him get away with whatever the fuck he's getting away with because we're holding on to college dropout. Yeah. We're holding on to graduation. We're holding on to the way he helped us cope with our own personal experiences. But he's not giving us that same respect. He's going off here and justifying all of his actions based off how he's being treated when all he's doing is hurting a community as the whole. Wow. And he wants to wonder why he lost $2 billion in 2 days.
2 days, $1 billion a day. That's crazy.
All the rich, you can only be a rich racist crazy if you're white. Come on, man.
And so that's hecka interesting you said that, because for me it's just seeing black bodies kind of promoting, not kind of, but very much promoting what we're seeing with the conservative party, which is in line with American politics and a history in America surrounding white supremacy. So for me, in understanding Kanye and seeing where he's at, I just think it could just be because obviously as a beginning, you're very close to those struggles. You're very close to the issues in the community because that's how you're able to make a name for yourself. But as time goes on and you find yourself distant from what basically made you, then we see this as an end result. And as you mentioned, surround yourself by a lot of yes men, surround yourself with people who think like you or want to basically use your platform to promote themselves, and you are so naive trying to still get in touch with the culture that you're realizing culture ain't fucking with that, you know, if that makes sense. Like, he just lost touch. But I think with Kanye, what's so interesting, and for so long it was a debate, is because it wasn't so much of a pattern as it is now. And during a time where we're in a pandemic, we're in a recession, inflation's fucking high as fuck, like, people are out here really struggling. We see the racism coming out very overtly, groups being targeted, and it's like, dude, chill the fuck out. And I just think that it's different this time, because in the past it happened every once in a while, but now it's like happening in such a time where it's like you're basically one of the voices, or not voices, you're becoming a voice that is so impactful to, I guess, your followers, you know. But then for me, it's like, I'm gonna be honest, it's just, who the fuck is listening to Kanye, you know? I'm gonna be honest, but it's like, he has hella followers, he has all this, and it's like, for me, I just was really good at separating him from his music. But at this point, because of his following and just the influence that he has, it's time to kind of hold him accountable, in a sense, where it's like, you don't have the experience that you have in music in this lane. You don't understand with your following what you say can influence this group, and lead to actual real life consequences, you know? And so I think he just needs to have that education. The mental health aspect is huge as well. But ultimately, I think it just comes down to the fact that there's not a lot of black leaders due to racism, due to the government's involvement, due to the fact it's hard for black people to enter into this field in a way that's impactful and actually move people, that we see people like Candace Owens and Kanye West, who are basically using some of those dividing forces that are common right now to gain momentum. And then now they're becoming a voice, which is ridiculous to me, because it's Kanye. Like, you're not Barack, you're not Malcolm X, you're not a black leader to me. Like, so for me, it's kind of like, I'm like holding him accountable, but also holding the people who's giving him attention accountable at the same time. But it's like, as I already mentioned, it's just interesting seeing black bodies in a space moving along a very much white agenda, point blank period. And that's where I think there's an issue. But I don't know, I just feel bad, because it's just like, dude, you had such a crazy fall from grace that it's like, we all know what he's gonna do, take this fall, take this hit, and then come out with something that's gonna get the black community, they can support him again,
Sunday service,
put him back up there, and then he's gonna do some more crazy shit by trying to really get into the whole narrative that we're seeing in America, which is people who's not experts in their areas or have experience saying some outlandish ass shit and now getting all the attention. I don't know, like, it's just crazy to me. Like, him being involved in politics, that was just crazy to me. Like, what the fuck? But then, I mean, Trump was president, so it's like, you just kind of see that trend, which is like, in America, if you have the money, and now if you have the influence behind you, you could really kind of do what you want. But in his in his lane, it's also, or in his example, it's also showing the power of the same group that empowered you, in a sense. Where, like, we gave you all these platforms because we really respected you. Now you're going a little bit too far, which I'll argue he's been going a little bit too far with some of his comments. But now that same power is we're gonna remove it from you. But I don't know. Kanye is just interesting, because I would agree, musically, talent off the charts. Like, if there was a genius, Kanye for sure would be there. But like, what he's doing now and thinking he can go into his lane, and I mean, not say he couldn't, I'm just saying I think there's just a different way he could have went about it. That's it. But obviously what he's saying is incorrect and like wrong, don't get me wrong, but if he wanted to go in politics,
there's
I'm just
a way.
saying there was a different way that he could have
There's
done that.
definitely a way you can do, and I mean, he learned his lesson, and that brings to my mind Candace Owens and her documentary. She wants to kind of aim her focus at the Black Lives Matter organization and this quote unquote money that's going on. I have no idea what's going on with that. I'm not even going to act like I know what's going on with that. One thing I will say about Candace Owens is, sometimes I wish and I don't wish this, but sometimes I do wish, because it's crazy what I see out here. I wish I didn't have a backbone. Like, I wish I didn't have no. Cause nigga, you know how much money I would be making out here if I did not have a backbone. If I could just rob, steal, and cheat. And I feel like that's what Candace Owens does in a certain type of way. Like, we see black people out here who do not have the means. Sometimes rob, cheat, steal. And we're not just saying, let's just not say black people. Let me not even put that on black people. Let me put that on people who do not have the means at the time.
Right.
They go out, rob, cheat, steal. And I feel like Candace Owens does the same thing. She plays a character which is very disheartening, very wrong towards the black community. She plays this character, and she gets her rewards, you know, her money or whatever she seeks from that, from white validation, from helping the white supremacy, you know, structure stay intact. She gets something from that. That's her high. That's her sex. That's her everything. That's her God. That's her. She needs that. It's like something that she's addicted to. So sometimes I just don't know how it is to have that mindset, to just care about money and power and pleasing white people versus actually doing the right thing. So that's Candace Owens. But my question to you guys would be, what do we say? What do we do? How do we express when there are headlines of Black Lives Matter, you know, in the news? What do we say to that? How do we
say to that?
because just like we had this conversation, there's a lot of organizations and shit that's people that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but for some reason, the black ones are the ones that always get the highlight. I don't understand that.
Well, with that being said, I just feel as if when it comes to Black Lives Matter, given the fact that in America, anti-blackness is so ingrained in everything that we do, and it is unfortunate that black people are subject to a harsher review of what they do and people just paying attention. But we all know from growing up, we knew that we had to achieve more. We had to do the best. We had to make sure everything was checked. T's crossed, I's dotted from the jump, because you always have, if it's not what they're looking into the organization, just on an individual level, just people in your business checking to see how you, not only how you're performing, but then they base that off of the whole group as a whole. So with that being said, I think that I have to look into it more, but when it comes to accountability and using the funds in an appropriate way, that should have been something that an expert was called in for, period. Because as a black organization dealing with such an important issue in America and having so much momentum around that and actually having a conversation, there should never have been any discussion or any possible discussion of what was going on with the organization, period, just because we know how black people are treated compared to other people. But with that being said, the fact that there is no black leaders, it's hard to, first of all, no black leaders, one, and then two, having enough black people in positions that could help the organization, two, and then three, even the fact how the organization kind of started, and then trying to get it together and the different opinions and views and just kind of being thrown on them, you have to give them some type of grace, in a sense where you came into all this money, you didn't understand the rules, you didn't understand what was at stake, so shit, you fuck up. But with all that being said, with the Candace Owens shit, it pissed me off because at the same time with the crash in 2008, what we're seeing with the oil prices in California, who's holding people accountable on a higher level who are benefiting from basically what they're accusing or claiming that Black Lives Matter has done? It's the same thing. If you're gonna, and I'm not, and that's where we're in it big, or for me, it's like, damn, they did this and it's wrong. We should still hold them accountable. But at the same time, there's so many different organizations, as you hinted to, that should be held accountable at the same time, you know? So it's very, I don't know, it's just interesting because it's just certain things black people can't get away with. And this is just one of them. And it's just not one of them. Something that's being investigated. And so it's like, I don't know, you have to take that into consideration, just knowing that a group trying to solve an issue that has no experience or looking to get the experience from, you know, or maybe didn't know how to go about it. But with Candace Owens, as I mentioned before with Kanye West, it's just very interesting to see black people given a platform to promote white supremacy. Point blank, period. It's just, I don't know how that would feel. Going out saying those things, being so disconnected from my community, not understanding it, but also just, I don't know. It's just like, how do you sleep at night in a sense? Because it's like,
That's what I'm saying. Like I
But
I
you're so
want to
disconnected.
understand how you could even do some of the stuff you're doing, knowing that black people are out here literally getting murdered for no reason, knowing that people are dying in prison for no reason, like knowing what's going on, and knowing like we're targets, and knowing that all these odds are against us. For you to still do that, there's gotta be something really different in your brain for you to really do that. Like, it's not just a normal person that can just do that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? For a bag or for a check, because you're not getting nothing from that.
Right, and then I feel like more interesting, as you mentioned, in her position because of her economic status, that you're choosing to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, money over people, boom, simple as that. And I don't know. I just think maybe she doesn't understand. The same with Kanye, don't really understand how they're impacting not only the black community but just race in America, you know, or racial views, I guess, of America. But in 10, 15, 20 years, when this is talked about and the impacts of it is going to be different. Yeah. Are you going to be on the right side of history or the wrong? No one really knows, but from the jump, we know that's fucking wrong, given how much we have tried to invest in understanding other cultures, background, trying to bring people together more, and now it's just leading to more segregation in a sense. And that's also where I see an issue with it. But given the rise of Trump and just the white backlash from Obama being in office, this is not something that is unique in America at the same time. It's just take one step forward, take 2 steps back, and with them being black and having a platform, we're taking 100 steps back. Because then you also have to think about who's giving these people the platforms. Why are not other black voices that are trying to unite the community getting the same platform? And that's also interesting to think about. And so it's basically a lot. And I hate to put that all on them, but at the end of the day, when you're a member of a group, specifically the black community, you know at the end of the day, your actions is a reflection of the whole group. Yeah. And that's unfortunate.
So
it truly
unfortunate.
is. I'm not going to lie about that, but we all know that's kind of how it is. And if you don't know, now you see what happens when you don't think it is and the impacts of that. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, once again, who made this bitch the fucking voice of the black community? I have no idea. Who gave her a platform? Why are you even paying attention to it? No clue. You know,
but you know why she has a platform. You know why.
We know why, but
Yeah.
that also speaks to what we're seeing in American politics, which is to divide.
Mm-hmm.
Divide, confuse it to the point where people don't know exactly what's going on. Muddy the waters, confuse people about race. Oh, all black people don't think like this? Oh, okay. They kind of think like me? Like, okay, maybe I'm not racist. No, you're still racist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you feel me? And it's just, well, I mean, because, you know, I don't want to, like, really target people because racism is just such an ugly fucking creature. But it's just, like, it's just interesting. And it's just kind of a shame also at the same time, because it's like, United States, for it to be such a developed country, such a powerhouse, just choosing what we kind of pay attention to and what we invest our funds to is very much outside of what we claim our values are. And so it's just, for me, it's just like, it's kind of like America slowly kind of showing, for black people for so long, we already seen
yeah, we already
like
saw the game.
Pulling the current back, like, oh, you thought America was the best nation? Oh, look at this. Oh, you thought we're so good? Look at this. And it's just like, this is just the result of not investing in areas that we should have been investing in as a developed community. I meant developed country. This is what you're gonna get: low intelligent conversations centered around things that are gonna divide people instead of having real solutions.
Concrete
Exactly.
conversations
And-
that will provide solutions.
And that's also what I'm not appreciating about the whole situation a lot. And that's also speaks to the power of social media too, though, and like not even understanding that that would be a tool that we would have to learn how to not only provide safeguards to protect, say, young Jewish people when they're seeing what the fuck Kanye is saying, and that could have been their idol, you know, and then you're saying this shit and I'm Jewish and I'm a child, you know. So it's like also it's talking to what we need to do in regards to social media platforms. So I think it's starting a lot of conversations that need to be had, but it's also conversations that I still believe cannot be had if we are not in it. We don't have the education to have those, if that makes sense. So I don't know. That's all I got about this topic.
Yeah, and if I could piggyback around, it's going back to like when I was telling Xavier, like we deserve accountability too, because I have 3 pairs of some type of Kanye West formed shoe, and that was after the slavery was a choice comment. So when, as a black community, are we going to stand up for ourselves and just say, and that really goes into what you're saying, because there's no leaders. Who's the 4 or 5 people we can go to and they could say, hey, Kanye, sit down. Kanye, shut the fuck up. Sit back. You're not going to say anything else anymore. Mm-hmm. You're going to fuck this up for yourself. You're going to lose $2 billion if you don't stop. Who's that person for the black community to do that for us?
No cap. I would put Jay-Z up there, but then Jay-Z and Kanye been kind of split.
But Jay-Z, I feel like Jay-Z is fighting a fight for black people when it comes to putting black people in avenues and things that black people have never saw. Like he was just talking about when he was on Kevin Hart's show, how he's owning percentages of stuff that black people have never seen. Like, it's been one family that has owned this one thing for so long. Mm-hmm. Like in the wine industry or whatever, like who owns this part? Mm-hmm. Oh, people have never even seen. I'm trying to insert myself, so I don't have time to sit there as a big brother to Kanye and be like, hey, you need to stop doing that. I'm going to distance myself, actually, because I have my own business and my own goals and my own stuff to achieve and my, the things that I'm doing.
See, and that's crazy to say Jay-Z, because it's like he's also an entertainer, but he's doing it in a different path.
Exactly. Who is that leader? Exactly.
Thinking, like, who would be the person that you can get mentorship and go to?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would even, per se, put Jay-Z in that category just for recognizing, like, what type of like leader he is right now. He is more, Jay-Z's a capitalist at the end of the day. He's gonna put himself in those avenues.
Oh, you gonna go to his comments? What he said? I forgot about that. Put himself
in those avenues where he can make money, and if his money is gonna take a hit, like maybe by telling Kanye, "Hey yo, you need to calm the fuck down," he's not gonna take those chances. He's implementing programs in the hood to get black people more involved with crypto. Them niggas need to be worried about crypto right now. Maybe help them get access with the actual resources and programs that they need. And you're trying to get them involved in such a heavy capitalistic idea of cryptocurrency that is already showing to fail right now. And I just feel like when I think of a leader for the black people, I'm thinking of a leader who is gonna stick with the plight of the everyday black person. I feel like Jay-Z is going to be more of a benefit for affluent black people who still recognize their blackness and putting themselves in those positions where, like, okay, once our community is able to have access to these certain things, like to be able to go and just have fun and spend a bag on some wine at a winery, they'll appreciate that we have black wineries. Right. But right now we need to get the average black person to that level to enjoy those things.
But hold on real quick. Who the hell are we going to listen to? Because we don't listen to the educators. As a whole, we don't listen to the educators. We don't listen to the scientists. We don't listen to, hey, this is bad for the world. You guys should stop doing that. Stop treating the world like this. Stop treating the earth like this. This is where you guys live and cohabitate and all that. And we don't listen to them. We don't listen to the educators who are telling us, hey, maybe based on history, this is what we shouldn't do and this is what we shouldn't do because they're boring or something like that. The attention span of the average American is like 10 seconds. We watch TikTok videos that are boom, 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 catch our attention, boom, 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 on to the next video. So who the fuck are we even gonna sit there and actually listen to and actually reason with and actually say, maybe I don't agree with this person on everything, but he has a goal to take our race to higher heights. I don't even think that somebody can captivate the whole community in that way. You know what I'm saying? With how it's not like, I feel like there's not one person that can literally grasp the attention of everyone. It's just too much going on. It's an
So are you
oversaturated.
saying that we need to have a coalition of black leaders that speaks to the different everyday
Most
needs?
definitely. I feel like, I mean, we've always been better together in a way.
Yeah, everyone's been better together.
Yeah, but also
Community means
the longer
everything.
we wait, the harder it's gonna be. Because even with that, we're recognizing, like, one thing we always harp on is how the black community is not a monolith, and the longer we wait to build that coalition to help bring us together,
Yeah, it's gonna be worse.
Yeah,
It's
the more different facets of black people there will be. It's like, okay, now we have this coalition, but now we have this group of black people that do this and do that, or don't really fuck with that and fuck with this, but they're still black. Now, how do we reach them? And it's like, even with that, with music, that's why I feel like music has always been such a driving force in black politics and
bringing people together.
Yeah, bringing people together.
Starting conversation.
Yeah.
But with that conversation, it's interesting because then we have people like Kanye who's making certain comments, and then we have also people, rappers who have done certain things that we excuse, which is also black trauma and black crime.
Yeah.
You know? So it's kind of like, what do you do?
And I think that's why white people look at us sometimes and say that we're contradictory.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. If I'm on the outside looking into what we do and kind of how we do it, you guys don't need to understand us, but for them, they kind of they want to understand us for some reason. And they look at some of the stuff that we do, some of the stuff that we say, some of the stuff that we deem popular in our culture, and they look at us and say, y'all don't even take yourselves seriously, so why would we?
White people are the biggest walking contradiction in the world, so they can miss me with 10 types of that bullshit. I'm pro-life this, pro-life that. Meanwhile, black and brown people have been getting murked in the streets since the inception of this fucking country.
Damn.
So they can shut the fuck up.
Oh, well, true. Hey, facts. There ain't no arguing with that.
People are always trying to. What did Jesus say? Might not have been Jesus. But you don't cast a rock with the
Let
same.
he who is
hand.
without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah, like, why are you trying to tell me about myself? Like, your community hasn't been enslaving multiple people for generations.
Damn.
And generations. Like, y'all just the saints that came down to save. That's what it is. Y'all think y'all just
That's
the
what
saints
y'all
that came
think.
down to save everybody and their mama, when all you're doing is ruining cultures, ruining people's lives.
Wow.
Trying to intervene.
Yeah, trying to intervene. Maybe takes 2 steps back and remove your white ass from my black business, and maybe we'll be able to have a great future.
Damn, and that's even more interesting. But it's like at the same time, though, it's like, how do you reach across racial lines, especially with what we're seeing with the new generation? You know what I'm saying? When it seems them coming together, have those conversations, admitting certain things, but they don't have leaders, you know? So it's like, we have to take that in consideration as well. Like, would it be better for every group to break off race? Okay. Sex? Okay. Sexual orientation? Okay. Income? And then come together? Like, there's so many different factors that everyone kind of fits into, you know? But my main argument and what forever be is just the fact that when you look at any statistics, black people are at the bottom. So I would argue putting resources together to solve that first and then working on the other issues. But at the same time, preventive measures. What are we doing to stop some of these racist thinkings and whatnot? What education are we giving people? How are we encouraging groups to kind of come together and have real honest conversations? How are we encouraging people to understand one another, you know? And so that's also plays a huge role in it. And then also at the same time, how are we allowing people who aren't in certain positions to recognize when someone is not and how to bring them up at the same time? And it's a lot to think about, because as you mentioned, like the affluent black people who are like Barack, Jay-Z, well, you know, put them on the same pedestal, doing certain things, but it's like, how do you encourage them or encourage the well-off, I guess, groups to reach back, you know? And then also for the groups that may not be there to feel encouraged to kind of speak and create those relationships, you know? I don't know how to explain it. It's just interesting. And I think that's why with the civil rights movement, the black church became this the piece to bring people together and actually have those conversations. But now with the church going down and a lot of people not being, you know, a lot of young people not being very religious, it's like where else would you find those leaders?
Because if you look at all the movements, especially let's go from 1940, maybe 1950, I feel like everything was organized in kind of a religious aspect. Like the main ones were in their religion. You haven't seen somebody like that in a minute that can organize, get everybody's voices together. And that's why when I was having that conversation with the church, I told them, like, you have to build a sense of community again. Like, that the church is here no matter what. Church used to be resources for not only coming there for God, but coming there if your kid needed to be watched. Coming there for different resources. You know what I'm saying? Like, the church provided a lot of things for our community when we needed it.
Right.
And it stopped being that because we got some. And let me just say this. If you got 20 churches in a city, and only 5 of them pastors is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, those 5 pastors are gonna stick out. The other 15 that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, doing everything with the money that they're supposed to be doing, and all that, nobody's gonna look at them. They're gonna look at the 5 though that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's when the accountability factor comes in for those people. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff that we have to fix. I feel like personally, maybe, hopefully, I just hope for somebody who has grew up in church, that church can be that for the black community again. But I don't see it. Unfortunately, I don't see it. How we talking about preachers with a $500,000 jewelry on, preaching and getting robbed and stuff like that, not showing no remorse for having that much jewelry on. When we have stuff like that, when we talking about what did he say? He said his congregation was what because they didn't buy him a Rolex?
Broke, busted, and disgusted.
Broke.
Ain't no way Jesus said that.
But goddamn,
So I just don't see it at this moment because we got a whole bunch of agendas and it's a individualistic society where it's all about me, get my money together.
And this is why capitalism never will work. But is it always me, or was it the idea of me, but I'm helping my people on the side and I'm going to have them buy into the me, but in reality, they not putting it into their people like I'm putting it into my family and my community. And I think that is also a conversation. But it's just a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot right now. And I don't know. It just doesn't help. We have voices who are not helping with solving some of the solutions, but actually becoming part of the problem. So it's just where do we go from?
And that's so disheartening.
It's so.
Yeah.
But as we talked about, if the black church used to unite black people and have those conversations, where else would we have those conversations? Yeah. And that alone, I think, is the reason why we don't have a lot of black leaders either.
Facts.
Yeah, that was like one big commonality the black community had together, where we went to church.
Yeah.
We were God-fearing Christians. And now there's just so many different facets of how you want to express your religion. I feel like in order for the black church to regain that sense of community is for them to not kind of lose part of their religion, but kind of embrace the fact that not everybody in the black community is going to be Christian anymore. But that doesn't mean those aren't still the same black people that need your help, because that's your overall responsibility as a God-fearing Christian.
Exactly.
You help these people that Jesus
no
would
matter
help.
what.
No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, that's the thing about... We're here to love others and to give to others. So when I see these churches that want to chastise and Bible bash and do all that stuff, it's not meant. We're not meant for that. We're meant to listen. We're meant to say we're here if you need us, and that's it. So
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get back to that point.
Hopefully we can get back to that point.
Because
Yeah.
we do. That's one thing that we do need. We need entities or somebody in that place to come up to Kanye West. Talking about Kanye West, he told, "Oh, I'm a billionaire." He's going by status now. So somebody that doesn't have as much money as him, he acts like he doesn't want to hear from.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we not have those people that we have taken care of, that we coddle, and they are our black leaders, and we say, "Hey, Kanye, shut the fuck up, sit down."
Because like Cabria said, that would have been a great time for Jay-Z to say something, because one big thing Kanye kept saying during his interviews was, "You're not as rich as me. You can't tell me nothing. Let a Jay-Z tell you to sit your whole ass down."
Exactly.
And like another big
But that's
thing,
also crazy. What the fuck does money have to do with the value
and that's
you
the thing.
hold as a human being?
He holds that money and that white validation to a higher standard than he does of holding respect for his own people. And one big takeaway that I take away from the whole Kanye thing is something he kept mentioning was back when he first started showing support for Trump, a lot of his friends in the industry and a lot of his supporters were like, "Hey, you're gonna get a lot of backlash for showing support for Trump for wearing that MAGA hat." And it was not clicking for him. Why were people going to be upset for you showing support for somebody who is showing such a disdain for the black community? And he was not getting it. But when he lost all his fucking money, he goes and makes a statement: "I've lost this much. I've lost $2 billion in 2 days. I've lost the black community. I've lost this. This is love speech." Now he wants to be a part of the black community when the money is taken away.